My mother's growing up was quite unusual. She lived in a house that belonged to the Crouch family for many years. Her name was Flossie Lee Turner. The aunt who was raising her was Ellen Crouch Ray, and her uncle, who was much younger brother of Ellen, was William Henry Crouch. And Mother tells me this story of how she came to be. The Crouch house was getting in a bit of disrepair sometime around the turn of the 1800s to the 1900s. And Andrew Jackson Turner was supposedly an excellent carpenter, and he would come and stay at houses and renovate them and make them more up to date for those years. Now, at the time, Sue F., we don't know what it stands for, Crouch, still lived at home with her mother. And so Andrew Jackson Turner came there to renovate the house. Sue was past 30 years old, therefore she was considered a spinster. And AJ was older than she by about 10 or 12 years. Anyway, he thought she was rather wonderful. As I understand it, he was a very small in stature man, that he was about 5'3". He was a widower, and he had a son, Douglas, who was a teenager. So he courted and ultimately married Sue Crouch in the family home living room, I believe is the story. And I think he then went to Arkansas and worked, but it may have been after. Anyway, Mother was born in Hinkleville, Kentucky. Mother being Flossie Lee Turner Linderman, was born in a house that used to sit on the hill that was part of the farm that Eddie and Lorraine Williams owned in in Hinkleville, Kentucky. That's where she was born. Sometime after that, they ended up back in Arkansas because we have pictures showing that they were made in Arkansas. And apparently AJ did rather well with his carpentry, because some of the pictures are quite spectacular for that era. Mother was born in 1902, and her picture is a work of art. Cindy has it, but it's a big, beautiful picture in a glorious frame. It's just gorgeous frame. I had it restored back in the 80s when I inherited it from my mother, and it hung in my living room for a long time. And because Cindy looks so much like that picture, it went to Cindy. Now, we know that AJ died of consumption, which is another word for tuberculosis. And according to Mother, he died after her mother, who died when she was young. She did not remember her mother very well at all, but she remembered her father. And one of the things she remembered about him was that one day they were walking down a lane, and a wasp stung her on the leg. And he was chewing tobacco, and he stopped and took that wad of tobacco out of his mouth and put it on the wasp sting, which made it quit hurting. We have a letter from Aunt Ellen that talks about AJ coming to see her and Flossie, and she didn't think he was going to live long. And that's all I know.